Election 2013 is over. We give you the result of individual votes. Plus, in today's lifestyle segment, did your favorite football team bomb a game? It turns out it's your health that suffers. And let's take a look at a specific cultural norm during the election period that tourists find interesting. 15 on 15 starts right now. In commemoration of the election weekend, we are here at the Casti Partido, which is the headquarters for the AVP party. So thanks for joining us. I'm Yentl. After months of campaigning for the election, results are in. AVP earned another 4-year term in office. The Green Party now has 13 seats in parliament. MEP has 7 and PDR has 1. Individual votes in Aruba matters greatly, seeing as they determine which candidates will ultimately become ministers. Let's take a look at some of the top vote getters. These are the individual voting counts for the AVP election 2013. Mike Eamon garnered 8,222 votes. This was compared to 7,962 back in the last election. Number 2 on the AVP list, Benny Zievinger, got 3,932 votes, and this was a dramatic increase from back in 2009. Mike DeMeza, on the other hand, received 2,100 votes, a bit of a decrease from the last election. Anmar Oderberg garnered a total of 4,008 votes, and this is a dramatic increase compared to his 2009 election at 1,630 votes. Paul Cruz ended up with 1,898 supporters. Back in 2009, he garnered 1,532. Supporters for Arthur Dowers also went up. This time, he reached 2,079 votes. Mervyn Wyatt Ras, new to the AVP party, received 839 votes. Michelle Winkler received 1,185. Juan David Iroskin, 1,314, and Marisol Lopez Trump, which is number 29 on the AVP list, received a grand total of 1,643 votes. It is a tradition on the island for the winning political party of every election to take to the streets and celebrate in a grand gesture. A parade with all of AVP's candidates took over the island on Sunday. Take a look. The parade started at the Joe LeVice Sports Park in St. Nicholas. Candidates lined up in order of their political number, formulated the traffic. Politicians shook hands with their supporters, celebrating in a way only Aruba knows best, a carnival-style parade. The parade began in St. Nicholas at Joe LeVice, and it ended in Nord at their Casti Partido, which is the headquarters of AVP in that district. Candidates with their friends, families, and many supporters participated in this parade. Green was, of course, the themed color. There was a tremendous amount of ambiance, and, of course, ATV was live for the parade. With the election now over, proper governance procedures must take place. Reason being for the visits to the governor's office. Take a look. Prime Minister Mike Eamon has been on this walk before. He headed towards the governor's office on the Monday morning after the election. The governor has invited the Prime Minister, President of the Parliament, as well as all candidates who were involved in the political parties to go to his office and discuss the formation of a new government. The meetings will take place Monday through Wednesday. After Wednesday, the governor will then announce who will be the person in charge of forming this new government. Typically, the person selected to be in charge of forming the new government is the Prime Minister. So, in this case, it will most likely be Mr. Mike Eamon. ATV learned more in regards to the forming of a new government from Mr. Paul Cruz. The President of the Parliament, Paul Cruz, received the governor's invitation and accepted it today. Mr. Cruz says upon his meeting with the governor, they discussed future prospects for the President of Parliament position. No conclusions have been made. There are different points being brought forward to negotiate who the right person from AVP is who will be chosen to formulate the new government. Before we go on break, I'd like to bring attention to the fact that ATV is celebrating its 17th year anniversary. We had a fantastic lunch catered by Margarita Gourmet. On this milestone, the employees of the network had a chance to reflect on the station's history as well as success throughout its years. A great big celebration indeed. It is also very important to know that on Friday, September 27th, which was Election Day, it was 15 on 15's 3-year anniversary. So with all the special dates and with the election, it has most certainly been a commemorative few days. We will be right back. Here is what's coming up next. Welcome back from the break. If you are just joining us, we are commemorating election weekend, so we are here filming on location at Casa de Partido. Now, did your favorite football team take a beating on Sunday night? Well, according to a new study, this will impact your diet the following day. If your football team bombs a big game, you are more likely to binge the next day. This is according to new research from France. Researchers from a business school tracked the eating habits of NFL fans after 475 games. It turns out the losing team fans had consumed 16% more saturated fat than normal the next day. In cities with most serious football followings, their intake of the unhealthy fat actually shot up by 28%. Bummed out fans also tended to increase their overall calorie intake by 10% the next day. Here is something good to know. Children born to mothers under the age of 30 were more likely to die than those born to older moms. Overall, child mortality fell by 50% in the past 20 years. Young maternal age was found to be a risk factor for death in early childhood. The message here is that support should be extended to mothers of all ages, not just first-time teenage moms. The study focused on child injuries, birth weight, and maternal age to assess the risk factors for child deaths. And moving forward, new research uncovers 2 new tricks to get you to snack less. Let's say you can't resist a good candy bowl. Well, there are ways to control that sweet tooth of yours without depriving yourself entirely. New research suggests that people eat less candy when it's individually wrapped or served with tongs. According to a new series of studies, it was concluded that people eat nearly 30% less when they had to unwrap the food or use tongs to serve themselves. The 2 different strategies didn't differ insignificantly. Researchers suspect that making food just a little more difficult to eat by wrapping it or using a utensil to serve it just might help you to eat less. If you think about it, it makes sense. The more time you spend unwrapping the food, the more time you have to consider whether you really want to eat it. Researchers won't know whether this trick works on non-snack foods or when you're really truly hungry, rather than just mindlessly snacking. On that note, we will be right back. Stay with us. Thank you for joining us, and just to remind you, we are on location right here at Casa de Partido, headquarters of AVP in downtown, to commemorate the election weekend. Now, I'd like to take a minute and discuss a specific cultural practice that is seen as normal on the island. For drivers to put up political stickers and flags on their cars is expected by the community here in Aruba whenever election time comes around. But believe it or not, this type of tradition comes as sort of a cultural shock to our visitors. I went on the streets the day before election to find out what tourists' thoughts were on this. Some visitors even thought the bright reds, greens, and yellow flags were supporting sports teams. This is what they had to say. It's hard not to notice the bright colored political flags blowing in the wind on top of cars. It is especially prominent to visitors who are not accustomed to this.
Where we're from, we only do that if it's a sport event. So I'm from Charlotte, North Carolina, so you'll see a lot of Panther flags, but not necessarily, for political events or reasons. So it is a lot different. I was wondering, I saw all the flags, so I was kind of wondering what that meant, and thank you for clearing that up for me.
To the tourists, flags on the cars showing political support is a culture shock, but nevertheless, they like the idea. It just proves political norms are different everywhere, from the United States to Latin America.
I'm from two different countries. I born in Argentina, I lived there for 40 years, and now I'm living for more than 10 years in the United States. So now in the United States, it's not usual, the flags in the car showing what you are supporting, but it's okay. In Buenos Aires, in Argentina, they paint the name of the political you, so they destroy pretty much the whole city. Then you have to repaint everything.
I'm born in Argentina, but now I live in United States in Miami. But in my country where I'm born, this is not allowed. You cannot do anything. No advertising 24 hours before the election. So that is really, weird for me, because it's supposed that tomorrow you're going to have the elections, you have to stop doing advertising.
Tourists say covering your vehicle with flags, stickers, and in some cases even paintings is just a way to speak your mind.
I think it is a nice idea. This shows really strong support of who you believe in, that you believe in that person, you know what I mean, and that you want them to be empowered, to run the state, whatever, So, yeah, I do believe I love it,
Compared to other places, Aruba represents their political candidates in a louder manner than most of our tourists from the States.
So it's different. Usually they have signs like they put in yards, vote for this person or vote for this person or this issue. I kind of like the colors. They kind of like you show who you're for more, I think, So I think you're supporting your candidate a little more openly.
Where we're from, they do kind of a lot of the same thing. They stand on street corners and shake hands and wave and stuff like that when they're running for different things and stuff like that. So it's kind of the same, I would say.
Well, they go ahead and put the signs, in front of their houses, to go kind of voice their opinion on who they're trying to elect. They'll go ahead and put the signs on the cars. As far as the bumper stickers, I've not ever seen any flags before.
I do think it's a good idea. Like where I come from, we just mainly put the names of the person that's voting for in their yards, and you'll see it on billboards and that type of thing. But for the most part, it's a lot more advertisement down here than it is where I'm from.
That is our show for today. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back here at the same time tomorrow night at 7:15 p.m. right here on Channel 15 ATV, but we will be back in the studio. We'll see you then.